Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. It's been a while.
I'm talking from my car today.
Huzzah! Yeah, Joey might get interrupted when he gets snacks or something. Anyways, we were just talking about Postal. I don't care, so I'm changing the subject. Hard change into the start of the subject. The thing I wanted to talk to you about is you've probably seen the recent Final Fantasy 16 demo, right?
Yes.
The gameplay demo, and how
Yeah.
it's no longer an RPG.
I don't care.
You don't care?
Dude, I'll be honest with you. We're at the point where we need less turn-based again. We have too many. And honestly, it couldn't have fallen at a better time for that. If they're going to shift it. Because we have too fucking many. With remasters, remakes, brand new ones, indie games. It's cluttered. It's cluttered like the FPS genre was back in the 2000s. And I am of the mind that it's time for a reboot. I'm at the point where I don't even want to see Persona 6 right now.
So
that's how bad it is.
I've got a different perspective. I'm sick of seeing action games because there's been a lot of those too.
I can agree with that. I think that the only reason I'm okay with it,
and let me put it like this, and I significantly like action games a lot less.
That's fair. I'm just trying to be effective here because I like them about equally.
And that's fair. I think my biggest problem though is the reason why they changed. You've hear about this?
It's probably because they thought it would make more money.
No, that's not the reason. Well, I mean, deeply, it's probably the reason, but the reason they're changing it is because apparently, especially in Square Enix, is widely believed in Japan that turn-based strategy games are like the lowest form of games. Not turn-based strategy, just turn-based games. JRPGs are like the lowest form of games because a while back, like 10 years ago, Americans would mock the Japanese developers constantly who made turn-based games.
So
like
what
RPGs.
you're saying is this? So what you're saying is this is our fault?
Yes. So basically, the COD Bros mocked the JRPGs a while ago, and apparently that feeling has never left the Japanese developers. And now Square Enix is like, we don't want to be the lowest form of gaming anymore, so we're switching to action games.
That would be a piece of it, but you also have to remember we talked about this before. They're run by a banker, and let's be real here, Jesse. There have been no net gains from a Final Fantasy game since Final Fantasy VII. Like.
So here's
they've been bleeding money in every one of their games except for 14 because it's a constant pull of money since Final Fantasy VII.
So
they have not been dying.
I think that's a little off though. Because reason why they bleed so much money is because of the high production values of a Final Fantasy.
No, because a bunch of them have no high production value. Some of them are just basic production value. What are you talking about? 12 didn't have a very high production value.
It had a
You can tell by the pig nose on Vaughn. You can tell by the pig nose on Vaughn. There's no high production value. Dude didn't even have a proper face. 7 was a high production value at the time. That was new. 8 could be argued to be a high production value. Then 9 was good, amazing, but they took the production value back down.
That's why I said 10 had a high of them, though. I didn't say all of them, just a lot of them. But here's the thing. 16 is looking to be one of those really high production value type games.
As long as the combat doesn't play that garbage, I'll be in for it. You know, that's the thing for me.
Okay, we were kind of just talking about. I play easier Souls-like games. I just don't want the combat to be like too difficult. A lot of people are like, it's like Devil May Cry. I don't want it to be Devil May Cry. I don't want it to be that difficult.
Oh, okay. Let's be clear here. Devil May Cry isn't difficult, it's combo heavy. That's different. Difficult combat dictates that it takes 3 hits for you to die. One. Let's note our tenets here, yes? Our tenets for difficult combat. It takes
3 hits to die is still pretty difficult. I'm not gonna lie.
No, Devil May Cry it takes way more than 3. Unless you're playing on Dante Must Die mode, and then that's on you, buddy. It's frame data favors the enemy over you, which you can usually tell when that happens. In Dark Souls, if I dodge roll and I see myself get out of the way of a blade, but it still takes my health, the frame data favors the enemy. Mm-hmm. That's 2. Okay. No difficulty settings on top of these 2 things. That one's reliant on those.
See, it's weird. I was playing Hi-Fi Rush, and like Hi-Fi Rush is a pretty easy game, aside from the fact that you have to constantly do it to the beat. Which you should definitely play Hi-Fi Rush if you haven't. You would love the game.
I've been playing Proteus a lot. Proteus is a really good FPS. Really fucking good. It reminds me of Hexen.
Anyways,
it's
sorry.
For all those old folks.
I know I'm devolving the sake of the game, but let's get back on subject. Sake of the game.
Yeah, no, like
podcast.
I guess the point I'm trying to get at here is, I know you weren't a fan of Tales of Arise. I'm noticing some similar issues.
So okay, I've noticed my biggest problem with Tales of Arise. I've noticed that for me, this is kind of my bar for a good action game and not a bad. And what's a good action game and what's a bad action game. And this is such a like minuscule thing that seems like, but it was something that like irritated me throughout the entire Tales of Arise. Tales of Arise never rewarded you for learning how to play the game good. You can never finish your combos because the enemies will always interrupt them, and you were just never allowed to just sit there and be good at the game.
Dude, dude, what do you mean be good at the game? Do you want to just always be able to do your combos every time? Because like
no. You could never do your combos in Arise.
Except I do them all the time. What are you talking about?
I could never do them. The enemies would always just tank through my hits and just interrupt the combos.
Maybe you need
there was no stun. There was no stun on the enemies, man.
Maybe you need to learn how to play more Tales games because it's based on Tales of Graces, punk boy.
Well, you know what? I never had this problem with other Tales games, so shut up.
Okay,
there's this one other specific great Tales game with this exact problem. Oh no, totally invalidates my point.
No, it's not a problem. It's not a problem. The combat's just different. As I said before, it's a cancel auto combo system. It's not one where you can just sit in front of the enemy and basically play a turn-based RPG with button combinations.
Cancel auto combo. That just means that just means you don't do combos. That just means you use specific attacks at specific times.
A combo is okay. So I'll tell you. Let's go back on a video game history journey, kids. So combos were created in Street Fighter 2 as part of a glitch that dictated you could cancel out of attacks and break into new ones. That's a combo, Jesse.
Oh, that's what you mean. Yeah, you could do that, except you couldn't when the enemy just attacked and stopped your combo immediately.
Unless you dodge them, scrub.
Oh, then you're not comboing, then you're dodging.
Yes, you are.
It's not combo if you stop in the middle of it. That's not a combo. That's just, I stopped.
That's a combo. Here, roll. Okay, roll one. Ken can roll. And then continue his combo. It's a combo.
Could the enemy stop Ken in the middle of that roll?
Bottom line is they can stop you in Street Fighter.
Because if they can stop you, it's not true combo, which doesn't count.
What the hell do you mean? What do you mean? I don't think you know what you're talking about right now.
What I mean is I don't feel like I'm being rewarded for learning how to do really big combos. Because I can't do big combos because the enemy will stop them.
So you want to do Devil May Cry combos in a game that's not Devil May Cry?
The game has the system. There's not really much other ways to do big damage in the game. there's no reward for mastering the game. It's just hit the enemy, dodge, giant health bar, terrible action game.
Okay, so Devil May Cry does the same thing.
No, Devil May
All
Cry,
right,
you can do your combos because the enemies actually fucking flinch.
except when they don't. What the fuck?
Yeah,
Dude,
sometimes you have to time your combos, but at least you can get the combos if you do them right. In Hi-Fi Rush, there are no. In Hi-Fi Rush, there are enemies that you have to hit with certain attacks, and they won't flinch, and you have to like break down their things. But once you break down their stuff, then you can at least get a decent combo in.
That's nonsensical. No, bottom line is
there's no way to get a decent combo in Tales of Arise.
No, hold on. There's no true combos in Devil May Cry because they all have a flinch barrier. So you're full of shit by saying that true combo shit.
Wait, when you get destroy the flinch barrier, can you then do whatever combo you want?
But you can also break the flinch barrier, and also you need to break the flinch barrier by doing something like dodging or blocking when they attack with that flinch barrier attack.
That's fine. If you can't always do the true combos, that's fine. In Tales of Arise, you can never do it. There's nothing you can do to get those off. Tales of Arise, there's no flinching the enemy. Because the moment you flinch the enemy, you get like one extra attack, and then they'll just demolish you after that.
Jesse, you hit them into the air and you auto combo them for something.
They'll break out of the air. They break out of the air.
They didn't though. Not for me at least. Maybe I just suck less than you.
Ugh.
I don't know, man.
Tales of Arise is a trash game. Also, most giant enemies you can't get them in the air anyways. Only tiny enemies you can.
Sounds like a salty skill issue to me, man. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me put it like this. Then I hate the fact that the enemies have giant fucking health bars in that game. Two chunky enemies.
Dude, are you kidding me? Devil May Cry is known for their chunky health bars. Their chunky health bars make everybody else.
Yeah, but I hate Devil May Cry too. It's too hard.
Well, see, there's the issue. It's just you have mid opinions on action games.
You say mid opinions, but I think it's the opinions of the masses, which is
it's not.
Which is how you make money, Joey. You're supposed to make money in these games, Joey.
Go ahead. Tell somebody who likes games that Devil May Cry 5 is not good. It's too hard. See what happens?
No. I'm saying it's not good. I'm saying I don't like it.
Everybody in the audience, it's too hard. It's too hard. See, Tales of Arise
was never hard though. It was just annoying.
See, there's the difference. It's not annoying. It's just a different combat system than you enjoy. You're phrasing it as if it's factual. You're not realizing the issue here is that Tales of Arise is, if we're talking outside of our own likes and dislikes, is the best Tales game.
No, it's not. Berseria is way better.
Yes. No, it's really not.
Berseria is miles
better. Berseria is barely
gameplay wise.
Berseria is barely in the top 5.
And that's your terrible opinion.
No, it's not. That's literally what everybody has said.
I have not seen anyone say that. Ever.
I can
everybody who's played Tales of Berseria usually say they like it. A lot more than...
which is why it's in the top 5, Jesse. Fuck! Man. I've gone over the issues with Berseria. It's the same as Zestria. The issues with Berseria
everybody I've talked to hates Zestria. Zestria is like bottom. Just above Dawn of New World.
hold up a second. I'm not done. Zestria isn't even in the top 5. Don't worry about it, Jesse. Don't need to get butthurt.
Sorry. You've said Zestria was better than Berseria before, so I'm automatically defending.
Vesperia kicks Berseria's ass, though.
Vesperia does.
And then so does Symphonia.
Oh my god, I'm trying. Symphonia's next on the games I'm going to be playing. I booted it up and then I looked at the side quest list and the affection system. I'm like, put it back down.
Hold up. I wasn't done.
I know.
So my issues with Berseria are large. It's got a relatively basic combat system for the Tales game. It's tired at this point, though. You like it. That's fine.
Mostly because it allows me to do my damn combos.
Hold up. it hasn't evolved to match what people wanted. And it also hadn't evolved as a series in forever. It just hadn't. It'd been stagnant since
I don't know. Basaria's gameplay is very similar to Zestria's, and Zestria was very different from the one before that. So,
that was Zillia too. That was Zillia.
Yeah, Zillia.
So
I wouldn't say it's stagnated. It's only the second game in that system.
No, it's the fourth game in that system, Jesse.
Is it?
Yeah, there are 2 Zillias and Zestria.
Hold on, now I need to look at the gameplay of Zillia, because I thought Zillia looked different.
Zillia, you can change weapons. That's about the only difference, but the combo system is the same.
Gotcha.
But Arise just pulls in influences from Tales of Graces and Bizarrian's combat, and then adds a little bit of Devil May Cry flair. That's it. Good decision.
Hold on, sorry,
it keeps your character moving in the combat, because standing still in combat is boring as fuck. Doesn't matter if I'm doing a combo if I don't feel like I'm doing much. I can just stand there and hit a guy all day if I want to by playing the sandbag game in Smash Brothers.
Oh no, Zillia is down to, like, with a lot of the older games. No, Zillia is more down like a lot of the older games. I'm looking at it.
I've played them back to back, Jesse. They play exactly the same.
I don't know.
You don't need to know unless you want to play it eventually.
I do.
But like I'm telling you, I've played them back to back. They play exactly the fucking same.
All right.
Like
not the same as Zestria though. That's very different.
Yes. No, the combo system, mechanics, dodge rolls, magic arts, skill sets, yes, they all control and play the same. That was why it was so easy for me to jump from one to the other, because nothing was different. Because otherwise I would have been like, oh, Zestria is different.
I mean, if we're talking about how the combos roll out and the magic is used, Arise is the exact same way too. So it's like,
no, Arise is based on Tales of Grace's combat system. Like the Tales of Grace's, which I like Tales of Grace. It's a good combat system, but it's still one of those issues where I'm like, I am of the mind that I like to keep my character moving in combat because I want to feel like I'm doing than just standing there and hitting a sandbag.
Okay, but so
you've given your say. You've given your say. You've done a lot more than your say, honestly. So now it's Joe's turn. I have to say, I don't hate any of the Tales games that you've talked about. I like them all. The only ones I don't like are the ones that are actually shit, like the sequel to Symphonia was garbage, Dawn of a New Age and shit like that. Those are garbage. And it's not because of the combat, it's because of the story usually.
Okay, I won't defend Dawn of the New Age. It's a fun hate play.
But like I guess my point I'm getting at here is people wanted something that wouldn't have you stand still as often. And that is how Tales games combos work. You stand still and put them out. And they're long combos, like you said. And I get your appeal for them. But you also need to understand the appeal of having constant motion in combat too.
So,
because that's the thing people are into.
I'm good. It's not that I want exact sandbagging. I just want just the moment where you can unleash the combos. Because I was playing again Hi-Fi Rush. Most of the time you can't just unleash all the combos willy-nilly. A lot of enemies you do have to like break open the opening and then unleash the crazy combo. In Arise, I don't think they ever gave you that option, so that's why I'm kind of like, eh.
Well, I mean, I also think an issue is you haven't seen any high-end play yet, because like we're having different experiences from how it sounds, right?
Maybe, yeah.
So I think a big, and also let's also caveat this: it's the first game in this engine. It's a great engine. It's phenomenal. Looks amazing. It plays smooth. Like, we're not going to argue that. It's smooth.
I will also say this, and I always criticize the original Sonic games for this. If you need to start doing high-end play just to start having fun with the game, that's kind of an issue.
Well, I don't even think it was high end play. I just think that you haven't explored it enough. That's not necessarily high end. That's
I don't
just
know. I 100% of the game.
look,
I did all the super
hold
bosses.
on, hold on. Let me finish. I was gonna say there are ways to cheese shit in these games. Obviously, every fucking action game and RPG has that element.
Yeah.
But what I was gonna say is, you tend to play on dominant strategy, Jesse. Am I right in assuming this?
A little bit, but obviously when it wasn't working, I was trying different things to see if they worked.
Okay, then it's not dominant strategy. Dominant strategy is if it works, you do it. So
I know. I do dominant strategies sometimes.
So that would mean that you probably wouldn't explore any other combo techniques if you found one that worked. You just do it. That's fair assumption, because I'm sure that's how it worked in the other Tales games. You're like, this works, I'm going to use it, and it'll kill him. That's a fair assumption. Okay. So it's not a skill issue. I'll retract that statement. It's an adventurous issue. You're not adventurous in your combat tactics.
I don't know.
You're
Every time I
methodical.
learned a new move, I switched up the combo and did the different combos.
Right, but you also always go back to.
Not really. Once I removed a attack, I'd never put it back in.
Okay, so you lied right there. You said that you focus on dominant strategy, and you'll always use works to kill the enemy.
A lot of the games I do lately, I've been trying to break away from it. But like back in the day when I was doing playing Kirby for the first time, I always did the down B, you know. You know, and like for a long time, I usually did dominant strategies, and even today, I still sometimes do them. But like,
So
it's not that I don't do dominant strategies. I'm trying to break away from it.
So let's note something here on the side too. The two types of combos in these games, and they're both combos. They are, because like, if anybody's gonna know what a combo is, it's me. Don't test me on that. There's the one you do, which is a long string combo. It's a straight up just string combo. It's not a true combo. It's called a string combo. That's what you do against a sandbagger or training enemy in a fighting game training room.
Okay.
And then there's chain combo, which is what Tales of Arise has, where you chain different attacks into dodges to make multi-combos into one combo. It's kind of like create your own combo.
So basically, it's comboing different combos.
Yeah, that's the true essence of technically what a combo is, but it's not a true combo, because true combos are relegated, honestly, for fighting games.
See, this is the kind of like, but the fact that you kind of have to do this extreme stuff, even on normal, just to even like get in the door of fighting a lot of the enemies, is I kind of hate that.
It's fine if you don't like it, but like you said, it wasn't a combo, and I just wanted to relegate.
You know what? That's fine. I was wrong. Maybe there are different kinds of combos. I'm not. I pretty much preface this that I don't like action games that much.
I know. That's why I'm trying to bridge this gap here. I'm recognizing your distaste while helping you, formulate some not as inflammatory opinion.
You know what? I'm still gonna use this opinion to piss people off. I don't care.
I know, but like, if you have an objective conversation with somebody that like you're respecting and shit, you're not gonna throw that out there anymore. You're not gonna be like, oh hey man, you did a lot for my family. Did you know combos aren't true in this game? But no. Tales of Arise definitely, it's been the best. I mean, other than being the best user reviewed Tales game. Like, I'm not even talking about the fucking schmucks who get paid to do it. I'm talking about users.
So I feel it's weird because I feel like Arise is the first Tales game that really started to kind of get into the mainstream. I think that definitely helped it because I feel like Zestria.
No,
It's
dude,
weird.
Symphonia's been in the mainstream for years, man. What are you talking about?
I mean, when it
That's just
first came out. Sorry, when it first came out. I should preface that Symphonia took a while to get into the mainstream.
yeah, but
And I think
like
that definitely is kind of help padding out its good reviews a little bit. I noticed that with the live game series where
I
it's
mean,
like, oh,
can't
this
we
game
argue
breaks
that
into
with
the game mainstream and has better reviews. That doesn't inherently mean it's better.
oh, but we're gonna argue that with Berseria
No,
too, because that's the same deal. Everybody knew about Berseria.
I think maybe people actually
Like,
played Bersaria.
dude, but are you kidding me? Dude, okay.
Hold on, now I gotta look at numbers actually.
Yeah.
You know what? I say that I'm probably wrong.
It's like I know a bunch of that was everywhere. Berseria was everywhere. It was one of the more prevalent ones I'd seen. Like I didn't see a lot of physical copies of Zestria, but I saw a bunch of physical copies of Berseria. But no, Tales of Rise sold a fuck ton. Looking up
Let's
numbers.
see, 2 million for Tales of Bersaria, Tales of Arise. Oh yeah, I guess they sold about the same. Hold on, how much?
I told you.
You know what? You were right.
Yeah. Oh,
Oh,
and Arise.
Zestria did 500,000. Okay, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I you need to trust me every now and then. I'm not.
Okay, so Bersaria was the one that brought it into the mainstream. Arise is the one that just maintains mainstream.
Arise was, as I said, if anybody was going to say one was better than the other, it was the people, and the people say Arise is better because they prefer moving. That's I think my point here is in an action game, people tend to prefer moving combat because Tales games are action games. You can say you want them to be kind of a hybrid. That's cool, but people don't want them to stick into only the hybrid mark.
Well,
Now,
I am gonna put the spokes on this just a tiny bit. I will say Arise's story is more consistently good than Bersaria, and that's probably making that's making this use reviews to rate the gameplay a little bit like murky. I want put that down for the data.
that seems like an argument that you've used for Berseria, my man.
It
So I
would
don't
be.
know if that makes any sense. Because if you're trying to argue one over the other, it doesn't seem like that matters. But either way, the gameplay is definitely something that's been lauded by the
But I
users.
also just thought about that little murky water just now. I didn't think about it earlier.
But
So.
why does that make it? Why does it make it murky?
Because people could be giving good reviews for the story, not the gameplay.
Right, they could, but they don't always do that. So why does that? Why? What's your point?
My point is, it murkies the water and makes it a hard rating to get. Hard to say for sure.
It doesn't though. The bottom line here is it just because they can say something about something doesn't mean it is something about
Okay,
something.
let me rephrase it. Dawn of the New World has the exact same gameplay system as Symphonia, yet it's reviewed so much worse. Why? Because the story fucking sucks.
Yeah, but that was back before it was known too.
I know, but like that could also be like the case with Rise of Bersaria. It could just be a difference in the story, and not the difference in gameplay.
Right, but so you're making a leap here. You understand that, right? You're stating because it could be this, it is this.
I said it could be. It means it could be, which means since there's a bunch of could be's in there, that's murky water when it comes to data.
Right, but this is the mass populace as opposed to the few, like with New Age and Arise. Let's be clear, right? Yeah, you agree on that? There's people that played that.
I'm just saying that the ratings are very close in that the differences.
No, we're going on this tangent now. We can agree that was a difference in populace that knew about the games. Yes.
Between Besaria and Arise? Oh, yeah.
between Arise and New Age.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can agree that there's going to be a different type of fan that plays these games, right? It's not just people who are hardcore Symphonia fans. It's people. That's over That's over 1 million more people.
Different type of people. Yeah.
Well, people that just like games in general. They're not necessarily looking to be niche.
I guess.
Okay, so what do you think a regular person would look for? What do you think their focus is? Story or gameplay?
Gameplay.
So, with that leap, I could make the opposite assertion. Are you noticing where the problem falls in your argument?
So here's what I would argue. Just because that's what they initially look for doesn't mean what they exactly get. They could easily think both the gameplays are
Okay,
exactly as good, but even
you're
the
not
average
getting
guy would look at the story and be like, you know what, I like this story just a little bit more, and then rate
so
it
you're,
higher.
so you're not getting it. Okay, so
No,
the
no,
point here.
no. I understand that if since the average person likes gameplay more, we should look at gameplay more for the rating.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're using what ifs for an assertion. When I was using a factual statement of this has high user score. And you were using a what if for murkying the waters because you're trying to.
No, they
You're
both
trying
have
to,
high user scores. I'm just trying to spot the difference in the user score specifically.
well, if you want to read through all the user scores, that's your deal. But bottom line is, what ifs are what ifs until you prove them differently. Like that was why I had just used a flawed argument there with the gameplay thing. Like the only point that I did was leading. The only good point I made was the leading to it, but it wasn't for the score's possibility of being more gameplay than story, because that's a logical fallacy.
Yeah, I don't know.
As Weasley. So no, Tales of Arise did very good, and it did very good for a good reason. The engine is beautiful. That's actually one of my. They have my favorite new engine for games. Like I like it more than the Dragon engine, which is saying a lot. I'm a big Yakuza fan, and I'm curious what their next game in that engine is going to look like. Maybe they'll have more people being stun locked for you so that you can hit your sandbag.
Maybe.
Maybe they'll try to find a way to make it hybrid, which honestly I would like. Because I also would do think that a string combo would be good with an auto combo.
So I'm gonna bring it back to Final Fantasy 16 a little bit.
Right.
One of the reasons why I like RPGs a little bit, and the stories of RPGs, is mostly because like with a good story and stuff, I don't have to like think too hard about it. I can just kind of enjoy it. And I think that's one of the main reasons why I like the sandbaggy gameplay a little bit more. I don't have to think about it so hard.
I totally get that.
And I think sorry, this is a highly opinionated. I'm not saying that one is better than the other in this play. I think for like Final Fantasy 16 with its which I know Final Fantasy games like live on the aesthetic, like the cinematics of the game. They love being very movie like. I think it might work a little bit better for Final Fantasy. And maybe that's just maybe my opinion, because like I know a lot of Final Fantasy likes to be very cinematic, and being very cinematic would work good for the sandbaggy stuff a little bit better.
I mean, I think a big piece of it. See, let me preface with olives. I'm right there with you. I'll just sit down and chill and play Digimon Cyber Sleuth, and it's just relaxing. It's just something I can do. But at the same time, I'm not going to turn myself off to the idea of having a game that I can play. I have a bunch of Final Fantasy games on my consoles right now that I can play for just sitting back and relaxing too. So like, I guess the question I have to ask myself in that instance is, do I need it to be the same? And sometimes for some people the answer is yeah. Like you, I think the answer would be yeah.
So for me, I'm always of the opinion that to a certain extent, a brand or like a series is a type of advertisement, and when you put the name of a game series on something, you're basically advertising that this is part of that game series. I feel like there's a certain expectation that goes with that. Like you are getting a Final Fantasy game with that. And I know everybody's expectation for what a game is so very different. So obviously this is very a murky water in of itself, and kind of maybe even a bad opinion on mine. But I can't help it. Uh, and so for me, it's like I buy Final Fantasy games to kind of relax and enjoy the story and the cinematics. If I can't do that because now it's an action game, I'm gonna be very upset.
I understand that, but it's not like you don't know.
Yeah, and I
So
think,
there's
but
that.
I think of like the opposite with like the Yakuza series. Yakuza, like, do people play Yakuza for the beat 'em up action, or do they play it for the high stakes crime drama?
They play it for the story. I guarantee
So
you.
that when they switched to an RPG, it was like, no lost sweat there. It's like they still got
Oh,
the high
no,
stakes
no.
crime drama,
People were giving shit to it all
and
day
they
because
still did because there were people who wanted the game action, like the
it
action
was the
gameplay.
change in it was the change in pro tag mainly.
Well, change in pro take. Okay,
But
that's a change in the story, which still is.
what I was gonna say is I mean, after a certain point, I feel like how a copyright runs its course, a game company runs its course on its obligation to make a specific type of thing after a name, because like Mario isn't just platforming anymore.
Well, here's the thing.
So,
It still is, at least for the. Obviously, spin offs can do whatever the fuck they want. For, like,
but
the
that's still
actual
Mario,
main Mario games, it's still platforming. It's
right? But
still
that's
what you came for back in the original, like, 2D
right. But
step
the
on the
side games
Goomba
are still
Mario.
Mario.
It's still Mario
Right,
after
but
all
the side
this.
game technically Mario, and then you have Paper Mario, which is a side game technically, but it's an RPG, and that had no right to like. That's another thing. Like the obligation would have been there to say, what is this? Is not just a change in gameplay; it's a change in characterization.
And
What?
I think with at least with the side games, I think it's usually a lot clearer that this is going to probably be
Well,
a change in gameplay.
but let's be clear with this though. It's still a Mario game, right? It's a Final Fantasy is Final Fantasy,
True, but
and
this
I
isn't Final Fantasy: The Crystal Chronicles we're talking about. This isn't Final Fantasy Tactics we're talking about.
well,
This is
hold
Final
up,
Fantasy
hold up,
16 with a
hold
number at
up.
the end.
It's 16 though. They've made 16 games that followed their paradigm. 14, sorry, that followed their paradigm, and they've made two that haven't. I think that they fulfilled the social contract that they filled with the people to be term-based only.
I don't think that
So,
contract has a time limit.
I think that it's their choice to make the time limit, and I think it's your choice to buy the game if you want it.
I guess it's just upsetting that the series I like doesn't do the thing I like anymore, and now I have one
Well,
less series I like.
you
I
want
have
to
a
know
net
what
loss of in series I like now, Joey, and
big
that's
whoops.
upsetting.
Oh, we're nearing our 30s, man. It's not our time anymore. It's the next generation's time to enjoy.
Okay, but the next generation can enjoy fucking RPGs, Joey.
Yeah,
It's not like the
and
things
there's
I'm saying are
14 of
inherent to
them
my
to choose
age.
from. And there's 14 of them to choose from. Is wow, 2 out of 14. That's a mathematical equation right there. That's so many, Jesse. I don't get your issue with that
Yeah.
on that specific point because there's 14 of them to choose from, and they're not gonna. That's a lot of hours.
Okay,
I'm
but
not
new
even
stuff
talking
is still
about.
fun.
I'm not even talking about the sequel games, of which there are 3, um, which puts it up to fucking 17 games. So, oh, sorry, wait. We have the after stories of 4, We have the after stories of 5. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? We have the after story of 2. Sorry, that's 20 fucking main games in the
Joey,
series.
see now your oldness is enjoying it. A lot of younger generation don't like to play those really old games.
That's their deal. But you know what? There's still 10-2. Plays like a basic RPG. Isn't 3D. They talk. You know,
But that's still
those exist.
significantly less than what you were just saying. So
Well, bottom line
having
is
having
there's
new
more.
ones in the as an RPG with new graphics and new freshness is always a good thing.
Here's my deal, Jesse. We have more than enough RPGs. This goes back to what I said before. We're already over encumbered with RPGs.
We have more than enough action games, so many Souls games and shit too. So this isn't exactly holding up to me. There's a lot of what it changed into as well. So it's not like
we're actually petering out of the Souls games these days. We're getting more Ghost of Tsushima, Arkham Knight type
it's
games.
still action games. It's still an ass ton of action games.
They play very differently.
I love RPGs play very differently. The active time battle system that Final Fantasy had is very different from what Dragon Quest has. It's very
Dragon
different.
Quest is very different. I agree.
So it's not like turn-based RPGs are dead or can't have variety to them, spice to them.
No, but they have too many. That's my issue. Is RPGs are above action games right now, and how many have come out, and we even have showcased a couple of them on Kickstarter recently. There have been like 20, but like on top of that, the indies that have come out, the basic games that have come out, the remasters, the expansions, the basic, like it's a lot. Now action games have just come out with basic games.
I will say with all the remasters and stuff, it is a lot, but I almost like don't count as remasters. That's just bringing like an old game to a new light.
I think that's you letting your bias show.
That's that whole like you have 14 other Final Fantasy games to play from coming into like actual practice is what the remasters and stuff are.
I find remasters because no matter what, another game bogs up the water. No matter what.
I guess.
So like because like you can say, well, it's the same game as this, and I'm like, yeah, but they're on different discs technically.
But I would also argue there have always been a shit ton of RPGs. They just haven't always been like.
That's not true. During the 2000s, there was actually a very big drought, and during the 2010s, there was a relative drought, and it started building up in the mid 2010s. I know exactly what you're trying to get at.
I'm just saying there can only be so many remasters only because there's so many RPGs.
That's not true. There's a bunch of indies. There's a bunch of main games. There's a bunch of new ones. There's a bunch of old ones. There's a bunch of indie riffs. There's a bunch of expansions. There's a bunch of sequels. There's a fuck ton of RPGs these days, man.
So I will say, you were mentioning a drought of RPGs in the 2010s. There was a lot of RPG Maker games in the 2010s. So indie games still had a ton of RPG. I think this is a case of why there's. I think with this, when you mention indie RPGs, I think this is a case of it's because they're easy to make, and I don't think there's. Because there's a shit ton of 2D platformers in the indies. I don't think there's a dirge of them.
Jesse, I gotta cut you off. I gotta go.
Oh, you gotta go? Oh my god. Well, I think just because there's a bunch of RPGs, indie RPGs, I don't think those really count because they're a bunch of simple ones that nobody pays attention to.
Okay. I'll let you go now.
That's all I have to say. Bye.